I'd like to now go on to our table topics portion of the meeting. Moriel, take it away.
Yes, so tonight I have the great pleasure to be your table topics master. And tonight our theme is living in the moment. And so today I'll be talking about asking you questions about living in the moment and really being present in life. Speakers have 1 to 2 minutes to respond. I encourage everyone to use the word of the day, which is brevity. Brevity means to be concise, exact use of words in writing and or speech. And I would first like to call on NC.
Yeah, NC.
MC.
Here's your question. When was a time when you felt you were living in the moment? Unmute yourself.
You're on mute.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, at this time of my life, I should say that most of the time, most hours of a day, I live in the moment. This is what I have learned through life, that brevity of life is being really met if we just live in the moment. We don't have that much time to go past and live it again or worry about being in the future. So going back to answer your question is that most of the time, and this is the fruit that I get from lifetime living as a wisdom that came to me, and I learned the only time which is actually existed is living in the present moment, which is a present to all of us, present to be in this world and live it and love it and experience it and taste it and enjoy it. Nothing else can be compared to that. Thank you.
Thank you, NC. I would now like to call on David Richards, our guest tonight. And your question is, could you recall a time when you served others?
Yes, I have. And it happened on a brevity situation because when I was able to help others back then, I let them know that yesterday is gone, that tomorrow is not yet come. And the only thing that we have is, and if we are not able to master our skills, help each other, surpass all the barriers of what is blocking us to reach what we want. So obviously, success will not come on a brevity time manner, but it will take longer than usual. So the more you team up with people, the more you empower the team, the more you help them to succeed, that's how you also succeed yourself. So that's why now on that moment that I helped those 3 people to overcome those fears, that's why I understood that I was able to help myself by helping them.
Wow. Thank you, David.
My pleasure.
And now I'd like to call on another guest, Corey. What does living in the moment mean to you?
So I think that living in the moment means to me enjoying every experience that comes up as it comes up. I am very guilty of either ruminating on the past or thinking about what's going to happen to me and in the future. And that leads me to this idea that I am not living in the present. So to me, I think living in the present is exactly that. It's enjoying every single experience that comes your way. It's enjoying the work that you have to put in to get a long-term goal achieved. It's enjoying the people that are around you and not judging them, but really just enjoying them for themselves. So I think for me, living in the present moment is something that is a work in progress every single day. But, you can really gel in that moment every once in a while. So I would encourage everybody to kind of follow that mindset, live for the minute, live for the second. Don't think about what's going to come and don't think about what's happened, because there's really nothing you can do to influence that.
Well, thank you, Corey. I love how everyone's positive messages with their table topics. I would now like to call on Imi, for your table topics question. Could you describe a time when you were not living in the moment?
Oh, a lot of it. I am the worry type, so I keep reminding myself to live the moment. So there is a lot of it that I worry about. What's going to happen for like the future? Where am I going to live after this? I've been to many countries, and I'm always thinking, this is not going to be my destination. Probably I'll be somewhere else. And then I start worrying, okay, where will it be? And what would I be doing there? And who would I be with? Will I be away from Shad? And maybe I will. And Shad is going to probably, I'm thinking like, okay, he's probably going to pursue something, and he will be living somewhere else. And then what would I do? And so I worry a lot. Yeah. And I remind myself though, living the moment. It's like this kind of situation that we live in now, as the rest of us said, it's a big reminder of living in the moment. And it reminded me of the past, the hardship that I've been through, like the wars and all that. And hey, at that time I worried, but I'm still alive. So I try to remind myself that you got out of it. You're in a different country, and you're fine, and you've got everything to be thankful for. That's my story.
Thank you, Imi. And you're right. As long as we have our health and we're alive, that's all that really matters. Now I'd like to call on Raquel. What advice could you offer to someone who's struggling to live in the moment right now? You're muted. Raquel, you're muted.
Okay, sorry. What advice would I offer to someone who struggles to live in the moment? First of all, I would encourage that person to just breathe. Let's calm down, breathe, and relax. And I will point out the things that I know in that person's life that really matters. Maybe their children, their parents, their aunts, their uncle, basically family. They have a roof over their head, they're eating, they're alive, they're breathing. That would be my main thing in this time, is to point out, like, look, you have breath in your body, you're breathing. You woke up this morning. Last night, someone did not make it. They did not see the sunrise. They did not see the sunshine. They were not able to move one leg and get themselves out of the bed because they passed away. So just the thought of using empathy and just seeing that, hey, I'm still here today. I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be here on Sunday, but I'm here today. You are here today. Let's be grateful for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Raquel. Next person I'd like to call on is Shabnam. Could you name a time when you have done your very best?
Can I remember a time when I have done my best?
Yeah, could you name a time when you've done your best in any area of your life? And just talk about it a little bit.
Thank you. A time I've done my best. I think I have done my best when it came to my health. When I was diagnosed with systemic lupus when I was 18, which was exactly 20 years ago, and the doctor told me that I was going to be on medication for life, to me that was a no-no. I was never going to be on medication, and for life, definitely not. So I think the best I've done is to be able to live life with no medication and not to be independent or depending on any medication, and also having an independent life, since a lot of people that were having my condition and still have didn't have independent lives. So I would say when it comes to that, I did my best. Thank you.
Thank you, Shabnam. Next up, the great Derek Glenn Larson. What time of day are you most present and why?
I'm very glad that you asked that question, Moriel. The first thing that came to my mind was the morning. In those hours before most of humanity in this side of the world has risen, when the trees, the flowers are alive and breathing, the birds are chirping, when the sun is just rising above the horizon. To me, I feel like I'm in the moment most at that time because there's a stillness. There's nothing to be done. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to become. There is just isness. And to me, that is what being in the now is fully accepting the isness that I am, the isness that is all things, that really there's nothing to be done. Really, there's nothing to become. There's nothing to attain. And when we find that, I think we find the present moment of now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Derek. And now I'd like to call on Adelina. Could you name an activity which helps you recalibrate and live in the
I did not hear the last part, Moriel. Recalibrate and what?
recalibrate and live in the moment?
And live in the moment. Thank you for that wonderful question, Moriel. Yes, absolutely. I can actually name a few. And due to the brevity of time here with this question, I will only pick one and speak about it. And that would be one that I could also do during this time that I'm staying at home, and that is meditation. I have discovered a few years back that meditation could be one thing that I could do to literally keep my entire life, in every aspect of my life, on the track that I desire to keep it on. And actually this question is so much very well related to the theme of the meeting, because when we control the now, which human beings have that ability to do, even though we can go into the past or we can go into the future, but when we control the now, that's when we are in charge of creating our own destiny. And we do so by picking literally one thought at a time. Or when we don't do that, we let our own mental activity create our lives for us, understanding that each thought is creative. So when I do meditate, I get to that place of stillness where I can hold the thoughts that I truly know that I desire to see expressed and take shape in my reality. And that's the one thing that helps me recalibrate twice a day and keeps me on track. Back to you, Mr. Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Adelina. I'll definitely keep that in mind. And for our next victim, I would like to call on Rob. Rob, could you name a time when you felt an enormous amount of love for a person?
Good question, Moriel. And in the most sense of brevity here, I'll try to knock this one out in a minute or so. So when did I feel the most love for somebody? Well, it absolutely has to do with someone who's very important to me in my life. Obviously, that's my girlfriend. And this happened about 12 years ago. And so it has to be, for me, feeling that amount of love for someone had to be where I was in the present. It's not, when there's something like love that's so great in your life, it's not something that's elementary. It's something that takes a lot of thought and mind, and to be able to have a clear mind and be thinking in the present, I think is really critical to be able to think about that. So this was about 12 years ago, and it was a great time in my life, but at the same time, it was a chance for me to really kind of stop and smell the roses and kind of really stop and think about things, look at the world as a whole, recognize what's going on in my life, and be able to kind of put things in priority. And so putting things in priority, I believe, also helps in kind of being in the present and being able to think about love and putting that out to those people who are important to you in your life. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. And now I'd like to call on Dane. Could you describe some characteristics of a person who does live in the moment?
I think that one of the top characteristics of somebody who lives in the moment is somebody who pauses throughout their day, who lives with intention. And the way that you can tell that somebody is fully conscious and present is that they never seem rushed. They always seem like a duck on water, just moving slowly along. And unlike a duck on water, their legs aren't actually going super fast underneath. They're just slowly kicking along. And I think that you can tell that the characteristics of a person who's fully present, fully conscious, they're calm, they're cool, collected. When you're around them, you feel like you latch on to their stability and they calm you. And so it's when you feel that sense of calm in yourself, when you're around somebody else, it's at that moment that you can really tell that that person is living a fully conscious, fully calm, cool, collected life. And the word of the day is what's the word of the day? I forgot. And that's all I have to say for today.
Brevity.
Brevity.
I was really trying to remember.
Now I have room for one more table topics, and I would like to call on David Macalo. What does it mean to be genuine and authentic?
Whoa. Moriel, great question. What does it mean to be genuine and authentic? Well, I will do my best to answer that in 1 to 2 minutes. This could be an entire book. It could be a fireside chat. It could be a paddle out in the ocean. It could be a table topic. So what does it mean? It means to me that something that I've learned from someone I admire is Brene Brown. She talks about vulnerability. And she talks about when you're able to expose yourself emotionally and risk being shamed or risk people criticizing you. To me, that's being genuine and that's being authentic, is taking a risk. Because when you put yourself out there, people may not always respond the way that you think they will, but if you can take that risk emotionally, that to me, Moriel, is being genuine and authentic.
Thank you, David. Now, at this point, I would like to ask for the timers report to make sure everyone qualified.
Just wrap